Hello, and welcome to the Smart Injury Doctors Podcast, the injury market's top program for doctors, lawyers, and insurers who want to gain greater insight on how to improve patient recovery results and deliver better services in the U.S. injury market. Please welcome your host, Dr. Jeffrey Allen Kronk.
Okay, the topic we want to talk about today, doctors, is how do you get referrals from your consultations? How do you get patient referrals from your consultations? Look, in the Smart Injury Doctors program, I teach doctors how to do multiple things at the same time. When you're in your practice and you're working on patients, you should be working on marketing as well. And it's very easy to do both at the same time. And both are very seamless, and both are very clinical, and both are very professional. You don't have to be car salesman or anything else. All you have to do is educate your patient. If you educate your patient, you're going to get referrals. So let's talk about, well, how do I get referrals in my consultation? That's weird. I do consultations all the time, Dr. Kronk, but I don't get any referrals from them. That's because you're not actually doing anything to get referrals from them. So first of all, let's talk about this. So when you have an injury patient and the injury patient comes in, there's a number of things that you want to get done on your first visit. One, you want to get all their finances done. You want to get their insurance done. You want to get them introduced to the practice. You want to get your forms filled out. And then they're going to go into a consultation, right? That day they're going to do a consultation. They're going to do an examination. They're going to do x-rays, or they're going to be sent out for x-rays. And that's typically what you're going to do on your day one visit. You're also either going to treat or you're not going to treat, depending on what you do in your clinic. But let's talk about when you're in the consultation, how are you going to transition from consultation to getting new patients? In other words, how are you going to do that? How do you do that? And there's nothing that's simpler. So first of all, in your consultation, you're getting the details of the accident. You're getting the details of the injury. You're getting the details of the symptoms. You're getting them all written up, right? You're actually ruling out pre-existing conditions. You're ruling out active and dormant pre-existing conditions. You're ruling out any gaps in care. And you're doing all this very, very quickly and very smoothly, and the same with every single patient. Now, you as an injury doctor understand that the same thing that causes acute pain causes chronic pain. All chronic conditions are usually the result of injuries, right? So the more that you understand injury work, the more you understand all work. As a matter of fact, in the chiropractic profession itself, in my profession, one of the things that's very, very interesting is that if I go to a 1915 textbook, here, listen to this. The name of the textbook is called Technique and Practice of Chiropractic, 2nd edition by Joy M. Loban, 1915. It says subluxations are primarily caused by trauma, falls, blows, strains, etc., being the chief factors. Hereditary weakness in the structure of some part predisposes by rendering that part or portion more easily displaced. Subluxations are never hereditary, but may be congenital through violent or instrumental delivery into the world, or may appear hereditary because they occur shortly after birth through the effect of light jars upon the hereditary weakened segments of the spine. They are always, listen to this, they are always the result of concussions of forces, never of forces acting entirely within the organism. They result from the contact of the body with its environment. They're caused by injury. That's what they're caused by. Now, you can call a spinal subluxation a spinal instability. The terms are interchangeable. I don't care what you call it. It's the main thing that most doctors of chiropractic are treating. It's the main cause of chronic pain in the world today, right? And it's caused from a ligament injury because you can't misalign the spine. Look at any chart that you have in your office. It shows the big old vertebra are all in alignment and then one's way out of alignment. It's impossible to do that without damaging the ligament. Right? That is a spinal subluxation or a spinal instability. Now, I'm in with my injury patient. I've just done everything I said in the consult. Right? Now, I know that there's only 3 main injuries that any spine can have. You can fracture it, you can herniate one of the soft tissues called a disc, or you can damage the other ligaments, which is more common, which causes excessive motion. that excessive motion injury has the most symptoms associated with it. It's the most problematic injury. It's the one that you put hardware in when you do spinal surgeries to stabilize it. It's not like the disc herniation. Now, I know, look, the patients either broke their neck, broke their back, no, that's out. So if they injured their spine, it can only be connective tissue. So how do I gain referrals from this? How do I gain referrals from the patient? It's very, very easy. I'm going to actually have, as I transition into I've just got all my questions answered. I've got no gaps. I've got my pre-existing conditions handled. I got my mechanism, what caused it. I got my details about that. I got my details about any care that they might have had or received before they actually got to me. I got all my symptoms listed. I'm now transitioning the patient. Let's say it's Mary. Mary, what we're about to do is an exam. Now, the most prominent thing or the most problematic thing with a spinal injury is injury to the ligaments. That's the tissue that holds the bones together. That's the most common cause of any form of chronic pain. So if you know somebody who's got chronic low back pain, you know somebody's got chronic neck pain, you know somebody's got chronic headaches. Doctors, I've just listed the first, fourth, and sixth leading cause of chronic pain and disability. Headaches, 38 million Americans. Low back, more than that. Neck, again, fourth leading cause. So again, I'm transitioning in. Mary, what we're about to do in the examination, we're about to check for ligament damage. Ligament damage is the most common reason why anybody that has chronic pain has it, and the most common reason why they still have it is nobody's ever diagnosed it. So anybody that you know that has chronic low back pain, chronic neck pain, or chronic headaches has an undiagnosed ligament condition. Now we're going to make sure that does not happen with you if your ligaments are injured. So that's what we're going to be looking for in our examination procedures, and we're also going to shoot some specialized X-rays that help us to determine the severity and location of these ligament injuries. Do you have any questions on this? Nope. Now they may say, right at that point, hey, I have a brother-in-law that has chronic low back pain. Could this be something that he's suffering from? Absolutely. What he would do is he'd want to set up an appointment with us, set up a consult with us. Definitely. If he's struggling with it, hey, I know a friend that actually has headaches. Now, they may not say that right away, but it plants the seed. Now I'm doing the same thing when I'm in my exam procedures. I'm doing the same thing when I'm explaining about my X-ray procedures. And if I'm really sharp, I'm sending the patient out with some sort of a booklet or some sort of a resource that explains exactly what I just said. I am going to create a tremendous amount of referrals just by doing what I normally do. I have to do a consult, so why shouldn't I generate referrals by doing it? I have to do an exam. Why shouldn't I generate referrals by doing it? I have to do X-rays. Why should I generate referrals by doing it? I have to explain the findings of ligament damage to the patient. Why not generate referrals while I'm doing it? I have to do re-exams. Why not generate referrals while I'm doing it? I have to release the patient. Why not generate referrals while I'm doing it? So it's not hard. Generating referrals is not hard. You just have to understand the conditions, and you have to understand your conditions. And once you understand your conditions, you realize, okay, every single person in your community has this condition generally causing them problems. Whether it's headaches, it's neck pain, it's low back pain, it's numbness and tingling into the arms, it's you name the condition, dizziness, person feels lightheaded, person has cognitive dysfunction, they have post concussion syndrome type symptoms, which is all of them cross over into a ligament condition. Once you know what you're looking for, this stuff is so easy, and it's so easy to build practices with. I mean, why spend 60, 70 hours a week in your clinics? I did this for years. I did the hard way. Spending 60, 70, 80 hours a week building your practice because I didn't know any better. I didn't know that I could generate referrals just from my communication in my consult or my communication in my exam or my communication when I'm ordering X-rays or taking the patient back to do X. I didn't know that. Nobody taught me that. Nobody taught me that the same thing that causes chronic pain is the same thing that causes acute pain in an injury case. Nobody taught me that the majority of things that I'm treating today, doctors, what I just read to you from 1915, are in the basis of trauma. And then if I really want to know my craft, I really want to know my skill set and my what I'm doing as a chiropractor, I want to know injuries. I want to know if I want to have the largest wellness practice. People don't start out usually just coming in and walking into a chiropractor center and saying, hey, I've never had any condition before, but I'd just like to go under wellness care for the rest of my life. Usually somebody has to solve something for them. And one of the biggest things that people are looking for when they have a condition is what is causing it. What's the underlying cause? Today I was on a podcast, and this group has a followers, 11,000 chiropractors, and the chiropractors were going into the fact that these biopsychosocial factors were more important than the underlying pathology that's causing the problem in the first place. Nothing could be farther from the truth, and nothing will make it. You want a hard practice? You want a practice where you're going, oh my God, I have to work my guts out all the time, and it's no fun. You have a practice where you don't understand the underlying cause of the conditions that you're treating, and you can't easily explain it to patients. If you don't have that kind of practice, you have a bear of a practice. You have a jail of a practice. You have one that's causing you to work lots and lots of hours. It's not nearly as productive as it could be. It's not as prosperous as it could be. It's hard to go away on vacations with. It's hard to grow, quite frankly. Hard to keep staff, quite frankly. These principles that I'm talking about are very, very simple principles, and they're super, super powerful. They are the principles behind some of the largest chiropractic practices in the world. Understand what I'm saying. When you're doing something, you want to be doing two things at once. You want to multiply your energy, or multiply. If I'm putting energy into this, I might as well get a lot more out of it. Instead of just doing a consult, I'm going to transition them over. And again, it's really easy. Mary, we're about to go into an examination. The biggest thing I want to be looking for is a ligament injury. Ligaments are what hold the bones together in your spine. When the ligaments are damaged, they're the number one cause of chronic pain. Anybody you know that has chronic low back pain, chronic neck pain, or chronic headaches has an undiagnosed ligament condition. And that's why they haven't ever gotten help with it. And if they want to get help with it, they have to work with a doctor that understands it. Now, step right through. Let's go in and do the exam. I've just planted that seed. I'm going to plant that seed a ton of times, and I'm going to water it. I'm going to water it. I'm going to water it. And all my materials are going to water it. And all my materials are going to activate the person so that they can help others. One of the things that people love to do, you sit around going, hey, when some patient has some success and you feel like you've helped somebody, you feel phenomenal. Well, why not have your staff feel phenomenal by showing them how they can help? Why not have your patients feel phenomenal by showing them how they can help others by giving them good information? That's the way to build a practice. That's the way to get referrals. That's the way to do less work where you don't have to be in your clinic 60, 70, 80 hours a week. That's where you don't have to sit around wondering, well, what should I do? What should I do? Should I find a consultant? Should I hire somebody? What should I do? How do I grow my practice? Growing a practice today is not hard to do at all, but you got to have some certainty. Here's the thing with certainty. Got to have certainty with what you're doing. If you're around somebody who's highly certain, you love being around them. I don't care what I don't care if it's a legal profession, if it's a medical profession, if it's a chiropractic profession, if it's the carpenter, if it's the guy that lays tile, if it's the auto mechanic, if it's the teacher. It doesn't matter. When you're around somebody who's highly confident in what they're doing, it's attractive. That's what you need to become. You need to become a beacon of confidence, of competence. And once you understand what you're doing with these patients and you understand the underlying condition, it's almost impossible not to grow your practice from within, let alone the marketing and all the other things that you can do from the outside. So on these podcasts, what I do is touch on a topic, short, sweet, and to the point. Today it was how do you get referrals from your consultations? Hopefully you got something that you can walk away with and you can go, wow, that was fantastic. Now, all of our podcasts, again, short, sweet, and to the point. If you want to put some comments down below, we definitely appreciate it. If you want to comment directly to us, call 800-940-6513. You can check us out on the Smart Injury Doctors podcast or on the Smart Injury Doctors website. And we also have a free, if you call our 800 number or you DM us on our Facebook user group and our Facebook user groups at Smart Injury Doctors Practice Builders site in our private Facebook group, if you DM us, we'll give you a link to that site so that you can get in lots of free information in on that private group. So if you have any questions, again, you just call us at 800-940-6513. We're here to help. Doctors, I appreciate your time, your attention, and like always, I look forward to you on the next podcast.
You've been listening to the Smart Injury Doctors Podcast, the #1 audio production show for professionals in the U.S. injury market that want to deliver better injury services to the patients, clients, or insureds they serve. If you like what you heard today, please leave us a review and don't forget to join us on our next program.